So hello everyone, today we are going to see the merge interpret problems of Leetcode. In this problem, you are given a 2D array where the intervals are given. Okay, and you have to merge all the overlapping intervals and return the array with non-overlapping intervals that cover all the intervals in that particular input. Let's understand this problem statement with some example. So here our interval 2D array is given that has interval from 1 to 3, 2 to 6, 8 to 10 and 15 to 18. So let's see how we can just go and do this approach. So we just go and copy this thing into a whiteboard. So it will be easier for us to explain over here. Okay. So can we just increase it? Yeah. Now you can see that there are two intervals is there 1 3 2 6 8 10 and 15 and 18. So if we draw the intervals, this like 1 2 3 4 5 and 6, these are the points. So 1 to 3 will be from 1 to 3 and 2 to 6 will be from here to here. So can you see that in this position these two intervals are merging with each other, I mean overlapping with each other. So what we have to do is that rather than writing these two intervals separately, we can take this whole interval and write this interval as 1 comma 6. Okay, so we can just merge these two intervals to 1 comma 6. Now you can see 8 10 is starting from here to here and 15 18 will be starting from here to here. So these two intervals are non-overlapping. So 1 to 6 will be one overlap and 8 to 10 will be one interval and 15 to 18 will be one interval. So this is basically given as answer. Here also you can see that 1 to 4 and 4 to 5 is there. In the point 4, these two intervals are overlapping. So you can just merge two intervals and write 1, 5 as the output. So let's see how we can just go and approach this problem. So for that, what we can do is that we can make an array of arrays. I mean, we can just make a vectors. Okay. Here vectors will be easier because in the problem how you have to submit the solution, vector is given. So we can just make a vector of vector. Okay. We can just make a vector. Or I'm just writing v over there. Okay. To indicate. So it will be of integer type. I'm writing integer as I. So integer type, and it will be a vector of vector, that means a 2D vector is there. Okay, and first of all what we have to do is that you just make a vector separately which will be stored, which will use as a storage for the previous interval. Okay, so here you make a vector or you can make a pair also. Okay, so it's your choice, but vector will be easier. So vector of I comma I, which will be of let's make it of like intervals. Okay, intervals or inter we can give, and that size will be 2. Okay, the size will be 2 of this vector. First of all, in the first step we just go and store these two values in the vectors. So in that vector the values will be 1 comma 3, 1 comma 3. And the next step what we are going to do is that we just compare the first element of the next interval. Okay, I mean with 2 we are going to compare this 3, I mean the last element of the current interval what we store over here. At the first position the current interval is 1 3. Now we are just going to compare this 3 with 2. If this last position element of the current interval is less than of this, then there will be no overlapping. But if it is greater than or equal, then there might be a overlapping. Here you can see this element is greater, 3 is greater than the 2, so that's why there will be a overlapping. So what we can do is that we are just going to update this inter. If they overlap, we are going to update this inter. So these values will be deleted because now we are going to merge these two intervals. So here what we're going to do is that what will be the last index. The overlapping can be done by two types, like this. One overlapping can be like this, okay, and another overlapping can be like this. The previous interval is like bigger and the next interval is fully overlapped by the previous interval. So in that case, what you have to do is that uh, you have to these two cases will be there for the intervals. So for the last index, what you have to do is that you have to update this last index with maximum of, okay, with maximum of this and this, okay. So this and this maximum of the last index of the current interval and the next interval, okay. So by this you can just go and update this. Now the current interval is basically 1 6. Now the pointer will be goes to here, and here the first index of this interval is 8 and here it is 6. So we can see that 6 is less than of 8, so no margin will be there, so it will be a separate interval. So we have to go and store this vector in that particular vector. We have to push back this vector. Now change these values to 8 10, because now we are going to store the current interval as 8 10, and then another time compare here. Then 10 is basically less than of 15, so another time the no margin will be there, so it will push, you will push to here, and the current index is now basically 15 15 8 15 18. Is it okay? Now what you can see is that now this traversal is ended. So at the very end, what is in the current interval, we are going to push it also. So in this vector now we have three vectors. So that's basically the answer: 1 6 8 10 and 15 18. So if we just go and see the code of this approach, so first of all we have to make this inter vector as we have considered over here, and also there is an answer vector. It's basically a 2D vector, this vector basically. Now what we have to do is that first of all you have to sort that. There might be possibilities that this array is not given as sorted. I mean that that intervals are not sorted or in the sorted order. If it is in the sorted order, then only we can go and like use this approach. If it is not in the sorted order, we are not going. We cannot just do this. So first of all, you have to sort. But even the interview, if it is told in the question that the intervals are sorted, then you don't need to sort it. Here nothing is mentioned in the question, so we first of all have to sort it. Then we in the inter we store at the very first state, as I told, that first interval will be stored in the inter. So that is done in this process. Now we have to traverse this whole interval list and just check for it that the first index of the next interval, is it less than equal to of the first index of that, not first, last index of the current interval. So if it is like that, then we have to store the maximum value of that, margin will be there. So here in this step we just merge two intervals. Okay, I'm just writing some comments for your sake of understanding. So merge intervals. And if it is not there, then what we have to do, we have to push back this current interval as I told. So push back that and store the next interval in the current interval section. So here it is there, and at the very last, whatever it is in the current interval, we have to push back it is in the answer. So at the very end, we are just going to return the answer. So that's the basic approach and the code of this problem. Hope you understand this explanation. So go and hit the subscribe button and do like this channel as well. Thank you.